Have you ever wondered where English literature, really got its start? I mean, before Shakespeare, who were the ones drawing up the blueprints? Well, today we're diving into the three foundational pillars of English lit: Edmund Spenser, Nicholas Udall, and Sir Thomas Wyatt. These guys didn't just write stories, they literally built the structures that would hold up centuries of poetry and drama.
So, let's set the scene. We're in Tudor and Elizabethan England, a really turbulent and exciting time. You've got religious reformation, global exploration, and this huge surge of national pride. It was right in this pressure cooker of change that our three pioneers started forging a completely new kind of English literature, one that was ready to leave the medieval past behind and step into the bright light of the Renaissance.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to meet each of these pillars one by one. We've got Spenser, the absolute master of epic poetry. Then there's Udall, the pioneer who basically invented stage comedy, and Wyatt, the trailblazer who brought the sonnet to England. After that, we'll see how their work created a legacy that lasts to this day, and we'll wrap it all up with an awesome exam cheat sheet to make sure all the key facts stick. So, let's get into it. First up, Edmund Spenser. Seriously, if English literature were some grand cathedral, Spenser would be one of its master architects, designing those soaring arches and all the intricate details of English poetry. Just look at the weight of his reputation. Spenser wasn't just another writer. They called him the Prince of Poets. But the title that really truly sticks is Poet's Poet. And the reason is actually pretty simple. Generations of poets who came after him, especially the Romantics like Keats and Byron, they all looked back at his work as the ultimate masterclass in how to write poetry. His masterpiece, though sadly he never finished it, was the Faerie Queene. Now this wasn't just some fantasy adventure, it was a massive allegory, which means every character and every event had a hidden symbolic meaning. On the surface, it's this huge patriotic tribute to Queen Elizabeth I, and it follows the adventures of the Red Cross Knight, who represents holiness, and his partner Una, who is the embodiment of truth.
But beyond his epic, Spenser was incredibly versatile. He wasn't a one-trick pony. He explored the whole journey of love in Amoretti, which is a sequence of 89 sonnets that actually used his own unique form, the Spenserian sonnet. He celebrated country life in the Shepherd's Calendar, and he mourned the loss of a fellow poet in Astrophel, a beautiful elegy for Sir Philip Sidney.
And hey, for those of you gearing up for competitive exams, listen up. Here's a really crucial cross-cultural connection you'll want to remember. The title Poet of Poets, which Spenser has in English, has a direct parallel in Bengali literature, where it's given to the great Nirmalendu Goon. That's a key fact to keep in your back pocket. So Spenser was mastering the epic poem, but a whole new world of entertainment was just starting to pop up in England: the theater. So the question is, who was laying the groundwork for stage comedy as we know it today? Let's move to our second pillar, Nicholas Udall. While Spenser was writing for the fancy, courtly reader, Udall was writing for the audience, for the people, and he was building the foundations of English dramatic comedy from scratch. Udall's entire legacy really rests on one landmark play: Ralph Royster Doyster. This is it. This is the big one. It's considered the very first true comedy ever written in the English language. Just think about that. It created the DNA for everything from Shakespeare's comedies all the way to modern sitcoms. So, what was it about? Well, at its heart, it's a comedy of unrequited love, and it's all centered on this hilariously vain and boastful hero named Ralph. The play was first performed around 1553, not for Queen Elizabeth, but for her half-sister, Queen Mary. Udall also wrote a shorter, more sketch-like play called An Interlude, which was titled Respublica. Now, a quick note for the critics and the serious students out there. While Ralph Royster Doyster usually gets all the credit, some scholars will point to an even earlier play, Gammer Gurton's Needle by John Still, as a potential contender for the title of first English comedy. It's one of those academic debates that's good to know about. Okay, so Udall brought laughter to the stage. But let's jump back over to poetry for a minute. There's a very specific 14-line poetic form that would go on to totally dominate English literature. So where did the sonnet come from, and who was the one who brought it to England? And that brings us to our third and final pillar, Sir Thomas Wyatt. If Udall built the stage, Wyatt was the great importer. He traveled to Europe and brought back one of the most important literary technologies of the entire era, the sonnet. I mean, his titles tell you the whole story.
He's known as the father of the English sonnet and the first sonneteer in English literature. It's that simple. Before Wyatt, the sonnet just did not exist in the English language. He is the starting point. Now, Wyatt didn't just invent the sonnet out of thin air. He discovered the form in Italy, where it had been perfected by the poet Petrarch, who's the original father of the sonnet. Wyatt's genius was in transplanting it. He took that Italian model and skillfully adapted its structure and rhyme scheme to fit the natural rhythms of the English language. And that was a project he worked on with his collaborator, the Earl of Surrey.
Their groundbreaking work was published together in a hugely influential collection called Toddle's Miscellany. This book was so important, so revolutionary for its time, that it earned this fantastic nickname, the first fruit of the Renaissance in England. It was basically a signal that a new age of poetry had well and truly begun.
So there they are, our three pillars: Spenser, the visionary poet; Udall, the father of comedy; and Wyatt, the great importer of poetic form. Now, let's just put it all together and see the amazing structure they built.
When you put them all together, you can really see the foundation taking shape. Spenser, he gave English poetry its ambition, its big ideas, and its moral depth. Udall gave the English stage its laughter and its structure. And Wyatt, he gave English poets their most versatile and enduring tool, the sonnet. Each piece was absolutely essential.
All right, let's get down to business. It's time to condense all of this into the ultimate cheat sheet. This is perfect for locking this information in your brain right before an exam.
Let's lock it in. These are the absolute must-knows. For Spenser, remember Poet's Poet, his epic, The Faerie Queene, and its hero, the Red Cross Knight. Got it? For Nicholas Udall, it's father of comedy, his play Ralph Roister Doister, and its first performance in 1553. And finally, for Sir Thomas Wyatt, remember father of the sonnet, his collection Toddle's Miscellany, and his key influence, the Italian poet Petrarch.
So there you have it. The foundation is built, the materials are all in place, the groundwork has been laid by these three incredible pioneers. But that begs a pretty big question. Who was going to take these forms, the epic, the comedy, the sonnet, and build the skyscraper?
The answer, of course, was William Shakespeare. He stood on the shoulders of these giants, and without the pillars they put in place, the incredible literary world he created might never have been possible.